second session of today. The second session is on graduate employability. I think, as you know, it's a growing concern as well. And employability issue is a major issue that is faced by almost all the institutions of higher learning. And also it is one of the important criteria for evaluating the quality of the university, mostly by accrediting agencies. Almost all the ranking or accrediting agency, they have some scores points on the employability of their graduates. I think this is one of the issues that means the customers or outcomes of the universities is more important. And now we are going to discuss this issue with three distinguished panelists and the moderator. So I'd like to invite the moderator of this session, Dr. Beena Giridharan. I think she has been introduced already, so I don't like to take this time again to introduce her, but she is the Dean of Teaching and Learning of the Curtin University, Sarawak, Malaysia in Miri. So let me hand over to Dr. Beena. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Hard. Again, it's my pleasure to be here and to introduce the session and the three panelists for this morning. I'd like to invite the three panelists on stage, please. First is Datuk Dr. Megat Burhainuddin. He's the president of Nilai University. Mr. Chen Chow Yeoh, Regional Operations Director, Groupon Asia Pacific, and Ms. Yuan Leng, the Assistant General Manager of Group Human Resource CIMB Group. Let's give them a round of applause. I'd like to introduce the session and just on the talking points that the speakers are going to focus on. Graduate employability, a growing concern. Obviously, this is a very debatable and highly discussed topic in Malaysia. And the points that they're going to focus on are how employable are our graduates, the theoretical and practical elements in higher education, do they fulfill the requirements for our graduates to work? Career perspective, are high-ranking students better than the average student? Enhancing graduate employability through career management skills. And finally, the employability indicator, capturing broader stakeholder perspectives. So first, I'd like to introduce the first speaker, or the first panelist, is Datuk Dr. Megat Burhainuddin Abdul Rahman, who's the Vice Chancellor and President of Nilai University. I'm just going to give you a short bio. He graduated in medicine with MBBS from the University of Malaya. He attended other courses in several universities, including University of Toronto, Canada, London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, University of London, Central Officer Training Institute in Seoul, Korea, and Harvard Business School, Harvard University, the United States. After retiring from government services, he became principal and CEO of Malacca Manipal Medical College. Previously, he held the position of Vice Chancellor and Chief Executive of Masa University, Kuala Lumpur, and he's currently the Vice Chancellor, as we mentioned, and President of Nilai University, Negeri Sembilan. Datuk Dr. Megat is also the Director of Innobiologics, Sendirian Berhad, since September 2002. So without further ado, let's welcome Professor Burhainuddin.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Madam Chairman and ladies and gentlemen. Well, first and foremost, I'd just like to thank the organizers for inviting me to talk. And in this session, and in actual fact, I really could not follow the guidelines. And because I have my own ideas. So I hope I won't go far wrong from the agenda that we have today. But nonetheless, let me just say that the issue of employability has always been, I've been in 3 universities, and employability is not a worry in the first one, which is medical school, where at that time, I suppose in the near future there will be a problem with employability. The second one was Masa, and I don't think we had any problem there. And now in Nilai, I shouldn't think there should be any problem, but we are not going to know what's going to happen. Anyhow, definitely the issue of employability is very critical for students because I see just to quote somebody, to be employed is to be at risk. To be employable is to be secure. Well, that's, I suppose so. And it's also important for the academic staff. The things that employers that generally value in new graduates are things that most teachers in higher education generally value. I think we all agree on that because most of our teachers here. And to the school, although a student's experience of higher education cannot guarantee a graduate to land a job, the nature of the experience to influence the chances of success. And of course, to the university, we always say, MQA always asks you what is your vision, mission, and goal. We aim to produce graduates fully equipped to achieve the highest personal and professional standard. Now, so as said just now, the concern is not just felt by graduates, by the parents and sponsors. Education is more of an investment. People want a return of investment. They don't want to have an unemployed graduate, and if they work on their own, so they think that it's not worth it after all going to university. The issue is a very long, undisputed, lingering problem. More universities of higher learning, more students, more graduates, and now with the open university, e-learning, distance education, is going to be much more difficult as we go along. And going through the archives and newspapers, there's a very good source of opinion, actually. And from 2003, right through the years, the debate goes on with reports, outcomes, studies being done, everything's been done. What are the problems? Commonly, they say lack of social and communication skills, language barriers, and so on and so forth. My colleague just now said, though, you got to learn Mandarin from now on. And the other one is language proficiency. I was there at Sunway yesterday, on Monday. People talk about proficiency in English language. And the minister was still playing the same tune, although he's a new minister, talks about why we have to learn this, and all that. It's a mistake, and whatever there is, and now we have to look into it all over again. And the third one that people say about the students, that they're not a team player. Now, these are issues that were raised. Because the graduates, somehow or other, they land up trained to be an achiever within universities. You don't have a first class or second class upper, very difficult to get a job. The question is that we have looked at it, we have discussed it, we have gone through the whole gamut of experience. But what is it that bugs me most, actually? I'm sorry to say that, no? We have got a system of education whereby we are quality control. MQA decides this. And this is one area where I have always find difficulty in, see, everything must be OBE, outcome-based curriculum, outcome-based education. And I get a bit worried about this. When I first joined Melaka Manipal, I said, I want to do it my way. You know what they told me? You won't be recognized. I said, why? I'm trying to do it a new way, not because of anything else. I want to have an exam much earlier. I want to have them exposed to the system at an earlier stage. No. So I had to fight hard. I have to go all over the place. I have to revise my curriculum again, and then, okay, we give you 1 year. It's tough to be recognized at 1 year. The parents came after me one day and said, look, if you're not, we have wasted $500,000, we want to be recognized. And I said, well, I try. And they detained me for nearly 12 hours in the university. And I had to fight very hard to get it recognized, just because I want to be different. But anyhow, they graduated, first batch graduated, and nearly 3/4 of them have got postgraduate qualification. That speaks well for the system, but still not recognized. Now recognized, of course, and it's one of the best centers now. The issue is that how do we get graduates, no? With that sort of conditioned situation, The curriculum must be controlled, the study time, and it's not a new model actually. Basically, it hardened in 1995, started that. 1999 started this outcome-based curriculum, and it's very tight. Okay, I won't talk about that, there's a different format, forum entirely. Now, what we had is that many remedial measures have been done. English classes, internships, multilingual proficiencies, many things. And basic problem is we had a look at some of the things that, what do students go, what do the students want when they enter the university? Again, it's a paper chase, trying to get the degree. They pass with good honors. It's not about pursuing knowledge. This is the basic thing that's wrong with the attitude of the students. They want to pass exams, but they are not interested in pursuing knowledge. I recall, interviewing some of these people, trying to enter university. Some of them are good communicators, speak very well, but what is lacking is general knowledge. You ask them, what is the problem now in this country? They say, no, I'm interested in doing medicine. I'm not interested in what's happening around the country. I don't read newspapers. They are right from the time in the school. They're not interested in getting knowledge. They don't know what is happening around the world. And that is about medicine. I say, what about flu? Bird flu, have you heard? Never heard of bird flu. Why should bird flu affect human beings? He said, me, my goodness, I said, this is a medical student. Stuff. Anyhow, language is another issue. And they talked to me and said, why are you worried about giving us information? All I had to do is just press one button, I go into Wikipedia, I get everything under the sun. So you don't have to teach me anything. So we say, okay, we teach you skills. Well, I'll come to that later. Now, some of them say they lack confidence. Why? Because there's nothing there between the 2 years that is worth talking about. They're not interested in talking about other things other than what they have learned. So this is another issue that when we interview employees and all that, even lecturers, I had problems. I said, because they know nothing except from their own field of area. What the next thing is that they cannot analyze problems. They learn everything by rote. They can't even, you give them a problem. I mean, somebody was telling me, he said, no, 3 times 2 is 6, but how do you divide between 3 people, apples and all that, between 2 people, and then they start, they look up and say, look, how do you go about solving that? They know 3 times 2 is 6. So these are issues that we're solving problems, analytical skill. And the third one that I feel that is a role model. I think we have great difficulty in getting good teachers. I can assure you that. We in Malaysia now, in most universities, particularly in medicine, we got to import lecturers, and that's where our problem comes through also. Okay, so what do we do? What are the problems? Okay, when for employers again. I just like to touch about employability, very quickly. Bias. University A versus University B, foreign university versus local university, and so on and so forth. And ratings of university, another issue. You come from a good university, everybody will say, draw in a deep breath and say, my goodness, wow, you come from so-and-so university. I'm not going to name them, but the thing is that they look up and kowtow to the fellow and say, oh yeah, they treat the fellow as if he's a manna from heaven, you see. And then, preparedness of candidate, of course. I can talk a long time about this because I have interviewed a lot of people and find out that how prepared are they when interview. I remember when we came for interview and one lady came in, so-called doctor, wearing slippers and kept putting all her, certificates in a paper bag. So we felt a bit downcast. This is a young doctor, Anyhow, so attitude of interviewer is another one, just now. And then, the thing is that now we want to employ people with experience. Where on earth do they get experience when they just come out fresh from the university? That is another issue. Now, what's the action plan? More studies? Well, that's what the politician says. I get very irritated with more and more studies and all that when there's nothing much left to talk about. And all of us got to pick a new part. Now, coming to, I got to do a bit of advertisement. My boss said, please advertise a bit for Nilai. So, I hope you don't mind this because I would like to advertise. Not because of anything, because I feel that when they asked me, the board asked me, Datuk, when are you going to start the dual degrees? I said, what, double degree? Do you believe in it? I don't believe in it. I believe in that the graduates that come out from the university must be able to do work, to be a professional. So what we do is that we'll get exemptions from all the professional courses. The BA Honours, they can go for ICAEW, CIMA, ACCA. We try to get as many exemptions as possible. Business admin, we try to get them into Malaysian Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators by getting as many exemptions as possible. I don't want to tell you how much we compare to other universities, but we are among the leading group who are getting as many exemptions as possible by reorganizing our curriculum such that we get BBA Honours in Human Resource Management, Professional Certificate in Human Resource Management, business program, we teach them on SAP, ERP and all that, software. Engineering program, we get them into computer-aided drafting and design, CADD. We have also a programmer logic controller, PLC, and so on and so forth. Computing program and Novel certificate, Linux. And beverage program, medical program. And one of the things, program advanced, we wanted to have our aircraft program to be recognized by European Aviation Safety Agency. We have got that with the advanced diploma. This just illustrates that, in fact, our soft skills, another one. We start with the Dale Carnegie course, our bound school. And so far we have got not too bad. Last year, 75% of our graduates were employed, with 10% gone for further studies. Now, the issue that I'm trying to say is that you should be able to be allowed to reorganize your program to suit the requirement of the industry. And this is where I fall foul of most of the MQA requirements. This is not in your curriculum. You must require this number of teaching hours, you must get this credit risk. It's tough. Very, very tough to please everybody. But my concern, they are employable. Now, this is the issue that I think we should be discussing about. I'm not a believer in foreign degrees, because to me it's not really good enough to me. They must be skilled workers at the end of the day. Maybe just into my areas, medicine. I told every graduate from Masa at that time, from Malacca Manipal at that time, that when they finish the program, there should be zero guidance. In other words, the moment they enter into the ward, they could see patients and try examine patients and make a diagnosis and try do their work properly. So that's the target that we achieve, and not too bad, the target. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Burhainuddin. It's my pleasure now to invite the next speaker is Mr. Yeoh Chen Chow, and he's currently the Regional Operations Director for Groupon Asia Pacific. He is responsible for managing the Groupon operations across Asia Pacific, which includes 12 countries. He also serves as the Chief Operating Officer of Groupon Malaysia. And prior to Groupon, Chen Chow was a management consultant with Accenture and product manager at jobstreet.com. He is a graduate of Cornell University in electrical and computer engineering. In 2009, he was awarded the Asian Youth Ambassador, Most Outstanding Youth of the Year. In 2013, Chen Chow was inducted as an Eisenhower Fellow. So we have in our midst a very young, entrepreneurial, and highly talented person who's going to speak about his experiences with JobStreet and all his current operations. All right, please, let's welcome him.
Thank you, Dr. Beena. Okay, good morning, everyone. I think it's a little bit nervous for me because I've always used to speak at the campuses with students, but I think today I'm speaking to a bunch of very experienced people. So I hope that I will be able to share the little that I know of, and I definitely think that today is a good way for all of us to learn together. And I think what I will share across will be from two perspectives. I think one of it will be from my experience at jobstreet.com. I believe that being Malaysians, we have heard of this homegrown company. So I have done a few parts of it during my time there. One part of it was managing the student segment. So work on the Job Street campus for the region. So, and I've gone to quite a lot of your campuses as well to speak to students and share with them some tips on how to get employed and how to bring them to the next level. And I think the second part of it will be I have done for Job Street will be for the employer product, the SIVA, the system that thousands of HRs in the country have used. So during that time, was working on how to refine the ways for HR to screen through the students. So that was part of it. And for the last 2 years plus, I was in Groupon. It has been an exciting journey. When I joined Groupon in Malaysia, there were 8 people. Right now in Asia Pacific, we have about 3,000 over people. And trying to read through my emails every day coming from 6 different languages, from 12 different countries is quite exciting, but I think it's a good learning experience for me. I think going back to the topic on graduate employability, and I think what I will share will be what from the employer standpoint, what we hope for, to look for from the graduates. And I think I will start from where Groupon is. Let's say for Groupon, as a very young company, today 90% of hirings came from fresh graduates. So actually, in the whole office, you see a bunch of 21, 22, 23 years old people running around. Most of our team leaders have their first leadership ability, first managerial experience through Groupon. So maybe I'll quote example like the head of operations for Malaysia, Ruhan. So when she joined Groupon, she has 1 year of working experience at that time. So she started leading our account management team, and then moving from there, she went on to lead the customer service team, and within the 6 months after that, she led the whole operations of Malaysia. When she first started, it was about 40, 50 people that she managed. Right now, she managed about 80, 90 people. And that was someone that is 26 years old or something like that. And I think the reason that, I think maybe to put it is like, why certain people can do that, and we have seen a lot of people have been able to do that, not just at Groupon, but a lot of the younger companies today. Not to say that the bigger companies do not, because just like I spoke with Yuan, Leng, and we have definitely heard that from CIMB, and many other companies are doing that as well. I think what are the skill sets? I think one is reach for the sky. The limit is not Malaysia. It's not just Jago Kampung, not just enough to be Malaysia Boleh. We need everyone to think of world class. So example like, because Groupon being a 48 countries business, so whenever we give the team anything to do or anything that they are doing, we are always benchmarking against how are we compare, not with our competitors in the country, but how we compare with the Americans, how we compare with the Europeans, how we compare with the Japanese and Australian. How good are we? Are we number one? And we will benchmark them and get them, push them to be number one, because we need to make sure that Malaysia, even though we are very small in the dot in the world map, we can be significant. And I think over the past 2 years, we have seen that. Today, Yeoh, a 30 years old young Malaysian, is leading Groupon Asia Pacific. And I think that is one of the things that I think for the young people is always reach for the sky. The limit is not just what you are being assigned to do. The roles and responsibility is not important. Let's say for our company, we don't give people roles and responsibility. A lot of it is try to think of what you do that value add to the overall mission. So how's the mission to improve the e-commerce in the country? How's the mission to make sure that the customer service benchmark for the country or the global is raised? And I think that's what the people will be asked to do, and that's what the people will be expected to rise towards. I think that, so example, customer service. Maybe in a lot of the people's mindset would think that customer service is a back office job, your job is pick up the phone. But that's not true. For customer service example, we actually took a lot of the top talents as well. And the reason is because for customer service, a lot of time, that is the place where most people, and a lot of us are consumer as well. That's where our pain point is. How can we wow? How can we make the people change people's life? Example, like all of us have had frustration with any of the services that we have gone before. And often that affects our life. And as many of the people in this hall have been holding very senior positions. So that affects in life might affect your interaction with your colleagues, your team, and everything, your family as well. So if we are able, as a customer service, be able to return the smile at the end of the call. When you put down the phone, you are smiling. And that's what we ask the team to do. And if you can smile at the end of the call, that means that your life after that moment, you will smile to your colleague, you will smile to your family, and that can create a ripple effect. And that's what we need the young graduates to think about, the mission. So example, like when we are looking at doing something, we are not creating a PowerPoint. We are not answering calls. We are looking at how we can, looking at a very big perspective. We are changing the world. So example, like for Groupon in Malaysia, are we putting up deals Or are we trying to enrich the life of Malaysians to be able to get things that that they used not to be able to afford to? Example, the 5-star hotel that they used not to be able to think that is affordable. Are we able to help Malaysian business export beyond the countries? So I think that's a lot of the mission that we need the young people to start thinking about. And I think adaptability is definitely something, especially in the multinational businesses. So example, like when I first went to Japan, for Japanese, it's very unheard of for Malaysians, especially young Malaysians, to go there and lead 500 Japanese. But I think a lot of it is how can we really learn, adapt, and make them feel comfortable to work closely with us. And I think the key words that we always use is how can we value add, irrespective of position. We can be any role, and we could be even without any role. But if we can value add to someone, someone would love to talk to you. So like one of the benchmarks that we give ourselves is, after we visit the countries, do the country want us back? Or the countries don't want us back? They feel that, oh, we are just go there and waste their time. So I think for a lot of young graduates is, as we're doing on our job, especially the first job, second job, is how do we really value add? Do we know what the companies really want? How do we know what industry really wants? And how do the graduates live up to that? And in terms of experience, I would say that it doesn't matter. When we hired a lot of the fresh young people, as long as they come with the right attitude, right mindset, that's the most important. Because all the skills today can be learned. I think just now Datuk mentioned about Wikipedia and all those things. Everything online is so easy to be searched today. But what is really is the inner strength, the inner ability of everyone to bring up to the next level. And to me, that is the core and the needs of the graduates today. How can the graduates today want to take over the world? And how do graduates today work beyond what they're supposed to do? So example, a graduate went as an intern to the company. Are they just doing the basic job? When an intern is being CC'd in an email, when they get an email, even though they may not be the main party in it, are they thinking of how to value add? How they're going to make the company or their supervisors look good? How do they make the supervisors be able to value add? How can they think through that? And I think just now Dato mentioned about bird flu. How can the graduates really think of the world as their oyster? And because today the world is not just within the realm of a company or realm of a place. And I think as we strive forward is the young graduates need to be able to think that they can and they should be able to be benchmarked with world class. So to me, that is one of the core principles. And I think a lot of it comes from listening and learning and asking the questions. So let's say when we go to a new countries to try to learn about a business and do quick actions on it. A lot of time is if we put in place 20, 30, 40 people in the place, choosing the right people to talk to and ask the right questions, we will be able to find out what goes wrong and we'll find out how to fix. And I think often as a young graduate is, how can we be able to do that? How can we be able to be humble to keep on asking the right questions? How can we be able to absorb from different perspective and be able to drive it? And I think for all of you people here in this room is, how can we make that the fresh graduates aim at the level, not as a fresh graduate, not at the level of manager, how can they think, act like all of you here? Maybe a question also to ask is, if today you can turn back the clock as a fresh graduate, how can you be so successful today in the fastest speed? And of course, not that saying that speed is only essence, but how can they be at that level? And I think that is where I think the fresh young graduates today need to push through. And I think in terms of language, I would say that language, while it is a tool, it is not the only thing. I think a lot of times when I go to countries that I don't even speak any of their languages, let's say in Korea, a lot of time through their gesture, through their action, through their trying, you can see that what they really meant. Sometimes we will actually choose someone who don't speak any English or very little few words of English versus another person who speaks fluent English, but that person has more substance. And a lot of it today with technology, with translations, with all the online tools, it doesn't matter, the language. And language will become less and less importance in terms of interactions. A lot of it is be able to just connect. And that's my little thoughts from my little experience. Looking forward to learn from everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yeoh. I'm going to summarize all the speakers' perspectives later, but now it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Yuan Leng, who is the Assistant General Manager of Chow, the CIMB Group. She joined CIMB Group in 2006 to help establish the Complete Banker TM, or the TCB program, a regional universal banking program designed to nurture and groom talented young graduates as future ASEAN banking leaders. She oversees the training of management trainees and sits on the committee that manages the program. Yuan Leng has more than 10 years of regulatory experience in the capital market, with her last position held as Head, Private Debt Securities Department of the Securities Commission, Malaysia. She also had a stint as a senior lecturer with a private university, and Yuan Leng is a certified professional coach, graduated from the International Coach Federation, ACTP Certified Professional Coach Program. We'd like to invite her to present her views. Thank you.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Yuan Leng. As Dr. Beena has introduced, I come from CIMB Group, and I don't talk about investment. Everybody asks me why I'm here. I'm here to share with you my experience, my personal experience in developing employment attributes with CIMB. I'm here today in place of my director, Puan Hamidah, who would like to send her sincere apology for not being able to be here because she's in Indonesia to attend a board meeting. In talking about this topic, I would like to adopt Professor Yeoh's definition on employability. I would like to draw your attention in not only helping the graduates to get an employment. That means the purpose of university should not only be helping them to get through the door, but I think it is more important to ensure that they are successful in their chosen occupations. So when I look at employability attributes framework from the National Graduate Employability Blueprints, I think I generally agree with the 4 bubbles that is stated: connectivity, exploration skills, etc., etc. But I would like to show you that some of the attributes are a lot more important than the others. Okay, this is CIMB Group today. I'm not trying to advertise, I'm not trying to impress you how big we are, but we are trying to tell you that we are hungry for talent. There is a thirst, there is an urgent need for us to get in talents as soon as I can. So, are we experiencing problem? Is employability a concern? The answer is yes. It is really a concern. We have problem getting the people that we want. Our interview success rate on a bad day, it is about 5%. 5% meaning that they have successfully get a job. That means they have entered the door. Good day, sometimes it is 10%, and we do not segregate between local and foreign graduates, and I will tell you why later. What are the key reasons they fail at interview? I have talked to my interview teams, which I'm not involved in. The key thing is communication skills and cognitive skills. And cognitive skills, we are very specific in terms of their problem-solving skills, as well as their reasoning skills. So, what are we going to do about that? Now, we have no choice. We need talent urgently, and we have come up with a stopgap measure since 2006. So what do I do? My job specifically is to receive graduates from the university, put them through a black box, and then this black box is 1 year. They will be in there for 1 year, and then later we will pass them on to the business unit to do real work. So this black box, I would like to introduce to you. I'm going to share with you today what we do. Please feel free to, give us feedback and whether we can further enhance it. So this black box is called the Complete Banker Program. So what do we really do? The objective is not only to get them employable, but we are training them to be a leader of CIMB in the future. So they go through 1 year of training. If you see, it is the onboarding and foundation building. Then they go through another 10 months of rotations to give them wide exposure. We are not going deep yet, we are going wide. Only 1 year later, we decide whether they are suitable to work with the organization, and then from then on, they move on to get their regional and leadership opportunities. So I'm going to focus just on onboarding and on-the-job training, and this is their first 1 year with us. And we are really talking about sustainability and success. So how do we shape? This is our model. For the very first time, we're sharing in the public. Number one, which is very, very important, which I think Chow talked a little bit about it. He implied it. We set high expectation. What do? We set high expectations in ethics, which is very important in banking. High expectation in technical knowledge, performance expectation, teamwork, as well as work quality, service quality, level of professionalism. Second thing, I think is also very important, is to set them free. Let them increase their capacity to take risks, as well as to make decisions. This is one big area we find that it is very lacking when they come to us. The very interesting thing is the first day I will give them a project to do, business project. And you will find that when we give them the business project, the first question they ask is, what is the guideline? How many pages you want? Instead of asking us, what is the objective of the project? They don't think about getting customers, they think about guidelines. And when I said, most of our project, we'll just tell them, surprise me. Clients. So we do a very business simulation, surprise the client, and you will see them stuck for 2 to 3 days, they don't know what to do. So set them free, let them think out of the box, let them explore and let them make mistakes. They are also very afraid of making mistakes. We stretch them a lot, and this is to meet the high expectation. We expand their minds, and we want them to have broader worldviews. Just like the previous two speakers, I think they are very right. Many graduates that we receive, they are very good in their own subject matter, but that's it, period. They don't know anything. To the extent we ask them, how many banks are there in the country? They are not sure. But they are very interested in banking, but they are not sure how many banks there are in the market. So, to that extent, we need to expand their minds, we expand their worldviews, we nurture a growth mindset, we challenge and provoke them a lot to think, and then we always, in all our projects, we apply the higher order of thinking skills. And we focus a lot on individuality. I'm not sure this university can do this, but we have the luxury of doing this because every group that we train is about maximum 20 persons. So we focus on the visions, the passions. Passion is the key to a career success. Their strength, their values, we want them to have self-discovery, and we give them 360-degree feedback. So this is the model supported by a simulated business environment and coaching and mentoring. I want to show you a little bit about growth mindset, which is what we all live by when we develop this program. A growth mindset is all about having, a graduate who can embrace challenges, a graduate who are perseverant, a graduate who work hard, a graduate who learn from constructive criticism, and we find this an issues. There are a lot of arrogance in them that, right now. So we try to see that, we try to make them see the benefit of learning. And then they find lessons in the success of others. So it is the growth mindset that we are nurturing in our program, and people who have a growth mindset will go very far in any career that they would like to do. Okay, how do we monitor? I want to share with you the results of mindsets. How do they change? I'm running a group now of 12, and these are, every week they give me a report, just a picture telling us how they are the week before. So I get the permission to share with you because you will see growth and you will know what I mean. I think nothing is better than telling you, how they feel about it. You see, this is Management Trainee 1, A, week 1. The first week they are with us. The stretching of the rubber band tell you that they really feel stretched. Management A on week 3, this is last week. They sent me another report, you see. They feel like they can jump to a bigger, bigger tank. So this is expectation and they know they can do it. Management Trainee B, this is another person, week 1, they feel like we are opening up her head, stuffing things inside her head. But the same management trainee on week 3, she said, this is a lady, I feel excited, it is a burning and growing sensation, becoming hot, becoming red. She's seeing passion. She's seeing how much she can grow. Management trainee C, week 1, I think he feel like he's looking on top and he's really not sure whether he can grow, he can climb. But the same person, week 3, he's already halfway through success through teamwork. He says he's being supported by teamwork, yeah? D, first week, I'm struggling hard on first week, but the same person on week 3 after going through the program is a boy to man. He says, yeah, I'm more confident, I'm still a boy, but we'll go through this training and come out as men. So they all grow in the program when we give them the right conditions. So this is what we look at for employability. The program is to make them meet CIMB core competency, to build them a sustainable career path, and then I think most of all, the most important thing is personal growth. So these are the things that we look, these are our core competency, results driven, collaborations and networking, effective communication, agility, learning and enable others to learn, and customer focus. And I'm going to compare it with the 4 bubbles in our framework earlier by the Ministry of Education, and I want to emphasize that personality management is the key. It falls throughout, so train them. It is like what Chow said, it is actually the attitude that we are looking for. So what are our 5 most lessons learned after running the program for 6 years? I think my first lesson learned is we must groom and nurture growth mindsets. So that is the attitude. To us today, actually academic achievement, there's no correlation compared to the success with our organization. So growth mindset is the most important. Set high expectation is important. You see that I think Groupon is another good example that Chen Chow just mentioned. 26 years old, they can run our team. Why? Because we expect them to, we set high expectations on them and they live up to it. So set high expectations. Help them to know themselves. Self-discovery is a must, and it should go on strength-based. That means focus on the strength. Coaching and mentoring is very important to stretch and grow the talents, as well as I would like you to know whether they are local graduates or they are foreign graduates. Based on my experience, they are actually gems, as long as they are coached and guided properly. So I would like to end my I would like to end my presentation by quoting Sir Ken Robinson. We have to recognize human flourishing is not a mechanical process. I think one of the speakers just now mentioned the same thing. It is not an industrial process or manufacturing process. It is actually an organic process. And you cannot predict the outcome of human development. All you can do, or we can do, is like a farmer. We are like a farmer, is to create the condition for them to grow and flourish. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I think the three speakers have been very disciplined, and they have adhered to the timelines and all that. And I'd like to just summarize. I mean, before I summarize what they've said, I'd like to add my views to this topic. I think that in this country, there's been a huge debate about graduate employability, largely because of the media reports on unemployability or high rates of unemployability among Malaysian graduates. And I mean, what does the higher education think about it? I think higher education has been pressured to produce work-ready graduates. I mean, in the beginning, when universities were set up, universities were not designed to produce people just ready to fill jobs. Rather, it was for the purpose of instilling knowledge, the ability to think, the ability to engage, the ability to create knowledge. So along the lines, we believe that they will acquire the type of skills that will allow them to move into professional fields. So first and foremost, they must be able to apply discipline knowledge and other criteria that is actually required to operate professionally. I think we have been looking at lots of employer surveys in terms of what employers want. I mean, eventually, higher education is contributing to the employer market because most of the people who graduate actually work. So some of the key skills that is now really a requirement, or rather, they can't get employed if they don't have these skills. I mean, number one skill that most employers around the world are demanding is communication skills. The ability to communicate, both orally, in written reports, and to be coherent, to put across ideas clearly, to be creative, to be able to think beyond the expectation. I think Mr. Chen Chow made a remark about extending capability, making your supervisor look good. Are graduates able to think just beyond their, workstations? Can they work in teams? Can they work in global teams? Are they ready to solve problems? Because problems don't come with guidelines. And, I like the point about what Ms. Yuan Leng said. We don't get guidelines. When a problem arises, there are no guidelines. You have to walk your way or chart your way through these muddy waters and find the best solution with the best outcome. Can our graduates do that? Can they take initiative? Do they have enterprise? Are they passionate about their work? Are they passionate about their subject? And only if us higher educators have the passion ourselves, can we translate or transfer some of that passion to our students? Do they have planning and organizing skills? And this is just self-management. Can they manage themselves? Can they manage their lives before they learn to manage organizations? And finally, do they have research skills? Because this is another area, these skills are fundamental. If you can't read a research report or an annual report from a company, how are you going to make decisions for your organization? So these are, when we look at these skills, does higher education embed these skills in graduates through their learning process? At the end of the 3 or 4 years of university education, have they learned along the way of just, apart from acquiring discipline knowledge, have they acquired these skills that are, that is really a prerequisite to operate in today's world? So I think higher education should be looking for proper tools to equip them for an unknown future, We don't know what the future will look like, and we must be able to prepare our students to be ready for the unknown future. It's all realities are going to be uncertain because market trends change. We can see that, the advancement of ICT and the advancement of high specialized fields have created the need for students to learn very quickly and for graduates to continue learning. So this is really, it's a very, very important topic, and I'm glad that, we've gotten an opportunity to discuss this. I'd summarize what the three speakers have said before moving on to, allowing you to engage. First, we had the perspective of Dr. Burhainuddin, who is, who has been a CEO and, Vice Chancellor of a couple of universities, on top of being a medical professional, himself. And what he has said is that, and what he has found is that, what are some of the outcomes of investing in higher education? Is the graduate satisfied at the end of graduation? When the person graduates, is he or she satisfied with the experience? What are the competitive market forces, pulling them in different directions? And can they be stretched? Or, will they go back to their original form? Or, will they transform and morph into better beings? He mentioned communication skills, yes, language proficiency. And sometimes, yes, we have challenges with quality assurance systems. But I do understand the perspective of the ministry and the quality assurance agencies, because there's a lot at stake. In order to instill stakeholder confidence, we have to comply, but within that compliance, we can keep creativity within, you don't have to lose creativity, you have to find innovative ways to deal with both. And well, the lack of general knowledge, I think all the speakers alluded to that, How will we, I think it has to start from much earlier stage. I think it has to start in schools, to instill this love of learning and to understand the world, not just, understanding subjects. There are, he spoke whether there could be some employer bias or not, are they, could they be? But we found that, from Ms. Yuan Leng's speech that really there is no bias as such, and they were just looking for talent. I'd like to summarize what Chen Chow said, and it was very interesting, listening to such a enthusiastic and fresh perspective of employing 90% of the people very young and full of ideas, and benchmarked against the best in the world with a global reach, and working with colleagues and clients to achieve the best outcomes for Malaysia, and even presenting brand Malaysia to the world. I think that's an exciting stage, and I commend you on trying to get that. And finally, Yuan Leng, she spoke about the complete banker program, and she gave her views of how important it was to make the student or your graduate understand what the world is like. Are our students work ready? Can we have work integrated learning? Of course, she too spoke about communicative and cognitive skills, which are quite, she found a bit lacking. And they undergo a year of training, and during which they transform. And she shared with us some vignettes of experiences from the program. All right. Now I'd like to open the floor to questions, and or add suggestions, or even share some of your own experiences, either as higher education providers or as employers. I'd like to invite Mr. Yeoh.